That's a new opening. My name is Random Jedi, and I'm the host of Carnival of Cosplay. That new opening, we have so many guests now that have been on the show that I used all their cosplay photos, so I'm only in there twice instead of 8 times like the first few weeks. We have a contest going on. If you subscribe to the channel, you can win $100 in cash. We're going to have drawings when it's 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, all the way up to 1,000 subscribers. If you like the episode and share it and hit the little bell, you get 3 more entries. Whatever one of those 3 you do, you get more entries. And we get about 47 more subscribers before we give away our first $100. This show is sponsored by me. It's sponsored by Retro Expo, April 2nd in Tiverton, Rhode Island. It's a one-day convention with a lot of 70s and 80s, anything retro. And I'll be there with my live shows, doing my older show, my original show, which brings out Indiana Jones and Doc Brown and the Shark from Jaws and the Slightly Evil Dead and some Harry Potter magic. And here is the commercial. Again, 11 to 6, April 2nd, in Tiverton, Rhode Island, at the Longplex Entertainment and Sports Facility in Tiverton, Rhode Island. So, I would like to bring the guest on now. The guest is someone I have run into at a lot of different conventions over the years. I've been taking some pictures with him. I'm hoping to find those this week before the episode goes up. And let's welcome Alazarcosplay. Is that how it's pronounced?
Alazar, actually.
Alazar.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, we've bumped into each other quite a bit over the years because I've done a lot of the New England and Rhode Island, the Rhode Island and Massachusetts shows.
Well, GraniteCon, I bumped into you a few times. Yeah. I remember you were on the rolling thing once there, right?
Oh, yeah. I ended up having a fracture. So Penguin had a...
I remember seeing you on the rolling thing there.
That was a challenge after a while, but it it healed well.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to if I ever need knee surgery. I had knee surgery once, but it was not very invasive. But I would like to keep my hips and knees that I have. Not to replace.
Yeah.
Because it looks like a real bad recovery.
Well, it takes a while, and if you're still trying to do cosplay, and when I was obviously doing cosplay at the time, it does make you appreciate the ability to walk around and stand and things like that.
Yeah.
For one show, it was in New Hampshire at Granite. I guess I was a Sith Lord in a wheelchair at that time. So
seem to be dressed as a Jedi today.
Yeah. Well, that's I've got several of them. as a matter of fact, but they're all red. You know.
This is about 20 years old. That and this is Mace Windows.
Oh, no kidding. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
See the color. Yeah.
I have 5 or 6 of them.
You know, it's like a tattoo. Once you get one, you just keep going.
Yes. Tell me about your cosplay origin story.
So I originally started doing the Ren Fair circuit, and that was all across New England. I was helping out some tailors and some leather workers and things like that. And then from there, I was also doing historical reenactments. And I've always been a huge fan of comic books, you know, from age 6, 5 or 6 up. And I had gone to a few shows when I was younger, and there wasn't too many cosplayers at the time. But as time went by, I started to see.
Was it 70s, 80s?
Oh,
90s?
I'm sorry. What decade? Sorry, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah.
That was in the 70s
Okay.
and early 80s, and later
There
on.
was not much cosplay going on back then.
Yeah, so I was going.
Except Cosplay Dad. Cosplay Dad was doing it by himself in Boston.
Oh, okay.
One room in Boston.
Oh, well, at that time I was just pretty much staying around Connecticut and things like that. And later on, I believe it was called Your Minicon, and that was in Meriden, Connecticut. And I started to see ads for it, and I started to see people dressing up in cosplay. And I just said, oh, what the heck? You know, I like doing this anyway. And it's part of like who I am as far as being the comic book or pop culture kind of thing. And I already do it for the Ren Faires, et cetera, et cetera. And so I like put together a cosplay of a Warhammer 40,000 Inquisitor. And I walked around there and I met a few of the cosplayers there. I'm going to pronounce her name wrong. Danielle Ballou. And
Okay.
yeah, she, you know, I spoke with her about the crafting. I was really interested in how she made her costume. And then boom, from there, it was like history. At that point, I was hooked. And I liked doing the cosplay that you would see now because, I mean, I went away from the Ren Fairs and such because for me, I started to enjoy the freshness of the conventions and say the pop culture cons. So that's where I came from. I did a lot of things, including like resin casting, and I've worked with foam before because I had a job with a hobby company. So I was very familiar with that. So it was kind of a natural fit. I'm a jack of all trades. Like I know how to use a sewing machine, but not real well, that kind of thing.
I can carry a sewing machine. That's about all I can do.
Yeah. And like
someone wants to move from one place to another, I can do that.
Right. And I can cast in resin and I know how to 3D print and such. So I go across the whole spectrum of things like casting and everything like that. The penguin actually came about because I was trying to figure out for Terrificon in, I think, about 97 or 2000. And I was like, well, I want to be a hero or something. I don't know what to do. It's like, I don't know what I would fit into.
You know? All the place.
Yeah.
Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah, there he is. And that's actually one of my first appearances that I was caught on camera. And that was Terrificon. And I was trying to figure out what character I would be able to embody per se. And I was just chatting with a friend and he's like, well, you could be the penguin. It would be a perfect fit. And I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And I never dreamed that it would come up like this. You know, it was like, he's like the most popular cosplay that I do. Um, and it's funny because no matter what once in a while I'll switch it up, and everybody's like, "Oh, where's Cobblepot? Where's Penguin?" So it really is really fun to have that kind of appreciation for especially the old school Penguin, the Burgess Meredith.
I love the old Batman villains.
Yeah, and I was just studied up everything on the show. I watched a bunch of the shows, and I started to listen to his voice more. And yeah, and everybody, and now there's even people that walk by every time I can hear them from across the con. They'll go, and then I'll go, and reply. So it'll be like penguins talking to each other.
That's the one that I knew you from the most.
Yeah.
That cosplay. And I should mention the lovely Olivia Kate Cosplay is behind you here doing her Catwoman, which
yeah, that was JMW Photography. I had never shot with him before, and it was a great experience having Kat there as well. I believe Kat introduced me to him. And
probably she knows a lot of photographers.
Yeah, and she and he is fantastic at helping, let's say, the cosplayer or his subject work the shot. It's always rewarding because you're not, being on the one side of the camera, you're not aware of what the angle is and so forth. But so I really had a lot of fun with that. There's another photo. Unfortunately, I didn't give that one to you yet. When the police let me lean up against the Boston police cruiser. Yeah, so that was a really fun one. And Kat is such a fantastic cosplayer and person to even work with and know. And I really love her costume.
She is the camera. You could say the camera loves somebody. The camera really loves her.
Yeah, the camera loves
Olivia. I've never seen a bad picture of her in any cosplay.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've known her 4 years, 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've known her about the same amount of time. Yeah, it's we grew into a family. We're all family because we see each other so many, at so many shows and in costume and out of costume. But with the Penguin, the nice thing with the Penguin is I have the nose, so I don't have to put on any prosthesis or anything like that.
That's true.
Yeah.
If the nose fits, you're the Penguin.
Yes, it does.
Is it tough going to other cosplays when everybody knows you for the Penguin? And they want to see the Penguin every time?
It is at times. I've done it for so long. I always go, oh, I got to do the Penguin again. And I'll do something else, but I get the biggest rush out of doing the Penguin. So I can't complain really. It's one of those things. I just love the fact
being a villain more fun?
I think it is because I can get away with a lot more. Yeah, I could say a lot more things that a hero wouldn't be able to say. I have Batman around. Anytime I see like Matches Malone or any of a Batman character, I'm like, oh, you call me a dirty bird. I'll be like, you call me a dirty bird, but I'm just an honest businessman. I tell you, you're a flying rat. You're the dirty animal, that kind of thing. And it's so much more fun to do. And I have so much more leeway. So, even today, I still do the Penguin. That's my main right there. Because I think I get the most out of it. I see like the people's reaction out of it, and it's the biggest reward.
Well, I think it's tough moving to another cosplay when like 3 people know who you are when you get such a reaction from the Penguin.
Yeah, and it's really funny. Even though I'm not wearing much, I'm not wearing anything really for facial makeup or anything like that. And I still have people, if I'm in another cosplay or out of it, don't recognize me, and it's really surprising because all it is a monocle and a cigarette holder.
It's an attitude.
You know,
It's an attitude.
yeah, it is. It is.
I tend to channel actor Ed Harris when I'm the Man in Black from Westworld.
Yeah.
And Pallbearer when I'm Pallbearer.
Your Pallbearer is fantastic. I gotta say, it's
Pallbearer is my cosplay that gets the most reaction if I'm at a place where people know of them.
Yeah,
I did it at Terrificon last year, and
yeah.
it was insane.
I mean, you're actually really, it's really creepy as Pallbearer how the resemblance works. You know, I mean, that
you just really got to do the
yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
It brings back
moving and
it brings back all the mememories of
yeah.
wrestling.
He actually weighed like hundreds of pounds more than I was, but
yeah. People tend to people also tend to interact with me more when I'm doing Oswald. I get a lot more the Bat fans and the Bat cosplays, and the higher I go around, I have fun because my favorite siren is Ivy. So I'm always, if I see an Ivy, I'm like, oh, I have to be, the Cobblepot flirting with Ivy because they're the ones that, for years were tied together. Yeah.
Well, the movies, in the comics, yeah. That's my dad.
Yeah.
I was down in the area covering Troy City Anime Con for this channel.
Yep.
It's the first on location video I've done, and it went over so well. I'll be doing more.
Good.
I'll be doing the Box Spell Con next week. I'll be doing Wicked Comic Con coming up. And even some of the Comic Cons that I'm performing at during my break, so I'll be doing videos of the cosplay in action.
Well, you'll see me there at Wicked because I've got a booth at Wicked with the other cosplayers. It's a one-day show, and the plan for me at that con is actually I'm doing something a little bit different. There's a friend of mine who is going to be helping me out, and we're actually going to be doing more of Sailor Moon. She's going to do Sailor Moon. And oddly enough, I can't get away from the tuxedos. So,
Tuxedo Mask?
Yeah, I'm going to be Tuxedo Mask at that show.
I just put together a Tuxedo Mask costume last week.
Oh, no kidding. Well,
yeah.
Yeah, well, I have that together.
Closet cosplay. I had everything but the mask. I got the mask at a party store, but
okay.
I'm not really big anime guy.
Yeah, I hear you on that. That's the first anime character that I've ever done, actually. So
I just bought a Team Rocket sweatshirt too. So it's a Team Rocket and Pokemon or Tuxedo Mask. Those are the two guys I knew.
Yeah.
So I bought a Pokemon Team Rocket sweater with a big R on it, so I can wear that at anime cons.
Yeah.
When I'm filming.
Well, at least now I'm going to have 2 tuxedos.
Okay.
Because I've had this one since I started, as a matter of fact, the one for the Penguin. I went, and
it's a slightly different tuxedo for the...
It is. It's a little bit higher cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tails, isn't it? Well, it's tails for Penguin too, right?
Yeah, they're both with tails. His cut is a little bit higher up towards the rib, and the Penguin's is a little further down. So, but now I have 2. So I'm happy I have 2, because when this one goes and I have to retire that particular tuxedo, then at least I have another one. Because that was something I ended up purchasing from a what do you call it? Well, basically a tuxedo shop. The ones that go for proms and suits and things like that, and weddings. And that's where I did that. And the hat just came as from like Amazon or something like that. And I finally retired the hat. So.
You see, me being a magician, I already have the top hat.
You're never out of hats, I would think.
Well,
There it is.
it's actually a good one, expensive one.
Yeah, see, I've got to figure out a tuxedo
A
mask
Jedi and a
hat.
top hat. How, we're going to see that.
Yeah.
I used it for 50, 60 videos on this channel when we did a series of Countess and Igor videos
Hmm.
until the Countess retired. I was her butler with a tuxedo with that hat. So
See, we're always well
that
dressed.
yes, I was her servant brought back from the dead by using a $20 Groupon coupon for a zombie priestess or
That's
something.
brilliant.
That it was great. It was a great series. We did 40, 50 videos, and she unfortunately retired. So that series is gone. Still on this channel though.
Hmm.
And there's all kinds of weird, crazy things on that. Now, our most popular videos, when I used the head chopper to cure a headache,
Hmm.
when I cut her in half, when I stuck 20 daggers in her head, the internet really wanted her dead.
Oh, yeah.
That's what she used to say. But my performing was originally different. It was music. It was punk rock, actually, but way back when. It was magician, illusionist, and then I came back with this thing, the comedy magic shows, pop culture magic shows, and then started cosplaying the show, and then I started cosplaying in beyond the show. So I some weekends, some cons, I would wear 12 costumes
Yeah,
between in the shows and walking around.
that's that's I can't even
Insanity. That's what
imagine.
that
It is.
is.
I've done like, I mean, I think the most changes I've done was in a single day for a con was, I think, 3. So
I did the last two terrific cons.
yeah, it's it's tough, but you love what you do, so you don't mind it as much. It's just kind of
Especially
one of
when
those
there was
things.
fall there and you have to take the makeup off in the car.
Yeah, well, I can imagine that because when I've done the Simpsons cosplays with for Zombie Leader. When
Okay.
I would do some of the tables with him. Fan Expo, I believe, last year or the year before, I dressed up as Ralphie and all that yellow face paint. So once you
Okay.
get into that, you got to, that's one of those things where it's like, if I'm going to dress in a cosplay with any kind of makeup on, that's usually the cosplay I'm going to do last in the day. You know,
Was there a learning process when you learned things about sealers and waterproof makeup?
there was actually, it was a lot of trial and error and a lot of watching YouTube videos and things like that because, I mean, it really is an art, and there's a big difference when, because I still watch, makeup tutorials, not for theatrics. And, I get a lot of information out of them on, what is better to use for like foundations or something like that. But I guess my point is that there is a big difference between, let's say, just putting on makeup and doing theatrical makeup. There's like, when you're putting
I
on,
went through it. I know.
yeah, you would know. I mean, you have to do shading right and things like that.
I mean, there was no tutorials anywhere to how to be pallbearer.
Yeah.
And I was doing it as a lark. There was a wrestling convention in Providence, and somebody dared me to go as pallbearer.
Oh, see, that's how it happens. That just like an idea comes across from someone and then boom. Yeah.
And I stopped for 7 pictures in the parking lot before I was in the hotel. And then I posed for 150 photos once I was inside,
Yeah.
including with professional wrestlers.
Yeah.
So much that the guy asked me back as a guest.
Oh, that's
And
great.
suddenly I had a third or fourth career.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how it happens. I mean, it's great. I'd like to do a lot more um, guest appearances at shows and things like that. It's that.
I don't want a table. I don't want a table at those things. I'm like matches.
Yeah.
I'd rather just wander around the con and interact with people in my character.
Yeah, that was what I was gonna get at. Is it's a tough call sometimes because with tables you have to be around the table. You're taking breaks and things like that. Whereas when you don't have a table, you're free to float around. But
It's Tom always did it with a friend, so he at least had another cosplay with him at the table, so they could take breaks and things.
right, that's what I usually try to do. I'll have a friend in cosplay. I had a Super Mega
Yeah,
Fest. I did that.
I have no interest in selling prints.
Yeah, prints are getting harder and harder now. A lot of it's going to digital. So I have a ton of prints, but really, if I was, when I do have a table, usually what I'll do is I'll bring some how-to books that I have from a huge famous cosplayer. I don't know if you want me to say her name, but
I don't care.
oh, okay, Kamui Cosplay. And she does those. And I bring some books. I actually get them imported from Germany. I can't find them in the US. So I get them imported from Germany, and they're the most well-written and photographed books that I have found. And they run the scope of makeup, lighting, how to make foam props, et cetera, or even she put one out about finding inspiration for cosplay. So I like doing that the most if I have a table, because what it does is I've had more and more people over the years come up say to me things like, oh, I wish I could cosplay, or I don't think I can cosplay because I can't sew, or I can't do this, or I'm just not sure I can get away with it. And that is one, I would always tell them something like, yeah, you just do it. That's you're blocking yourself. You don't have to know how to sew. You don't have to know how to do leather. So, these things will help,
No, you can just order it. That's what I did for that.
You can order it, and if you don't have the cash, yeah, but you know as well as I do how much cosplays cost.
Yes,
but show the jetpack once in a while, and I'm in awe because I think the most expensive cosplay I've had is cost about $450.
Yeah, I'm at a few $100 for everything else.
And that was speaking of things parts falling apart. That's one of the things that kind of segued from one cosplay to another for me. Because last year I'd originally gone to Rhode Island Comic-Con, and I had the whole Mandalorian had started and was running, and I was like, I've always wanted to I do the Sith, but I want to do a bounty hunter. So I put together this bounty hunter costume, and it was.
I don't have a picture of it, right?
No, you don't. But it's okay. It was terrible. Oh God, It was so terrible. It was, and you'll see parts of it in another picture that you have. But what was happening is I had the Han Solo. I had a Solo blaster that I 3D printed, and I have a Dark Trooper helmet, a 3D printed Dark Trooper helmet. And I was like, this is a great concept, and maybe I'll do a bounty hunter with a Dark Trooper helmet where you found it, et cetera, et cetera. So what happened is, unfortunately for me, a guy my size, it's hard to find anything to fit. So I had the gun belt, and the gun belt had one tiny little piece of metal. And that gun belt kept falling apart.
Yeah.
Oh, it was crazy. It was like I'd sit there and it'd feel okay, and someone would take a picture and it would be down by my ankle, that kind of thing. So most of the time when you, let's say, want to order a cosplay, you have to order it custom, unless you know someone who's going to work on it for you. And
and it's from China and overseas.
Yeah,
They're
and
4XLs is like an extra large.
yeah. So usually I have to send the measurements, etc. So what? Yeah. So with what I did with that is I had another friend of mine, Ashley Phoenix, came up to me and said, that costume. Oh no, that wasn't Ashley Phoenix. I'm sorry, it was
Ashley, go
Minimel.
ahead.
Minimal. Minimal.
Okay.
She Ewok. You'll see her at cons as an
Ashley,
Ewok.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Dark Phoenix has worked for me before.
Okay. Yeah, that's not. Yeah, it wasn't Dark Phoenix. It was Minnie Mal. She normally does a lot of she does an Ewok. So
Okay.
you'll see where the 501st
Oh,
office.
I know her. She used to work at my supermarket as a cashier.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. So
and my daughter went to school with her.
yeah, she came up to me and she said, with that costume is 3/4 of a Firefly costume. And I was like, really? I used to watch that. I never thought about that. And then, and so I went home after that show and I watched Firefly again. And I was like, oh my gosh, it is. So that's
Malcolm?
Well, yeah, I didn't do Malcolm, but I did somebody from the 57th Overlanders. So
Okay.
I was one of his troopers. So what I did is, and that's one of the pictures that you have, is the, I guess you could say, sort of a kit bash.
No.
There you go.
Oh, that's one. Okay.
That's one. Yep. Is the kit bash of it.
Okay.
So the bounty hunter had the jacket, so I had the long trench coat already. I got the patches. I put the patches on the trench coat. I already had the scarf and everything like that. I had the combat helmet already. So I put that together. So I was like, yeah, I'm one of the 57th Overlanders. And that's how a lot of these cosplays start. They start as one thing, end up as another. It's just like the ideas. You get one idea and suddenly it changes or morphs into another. And I had a lot of fun.
I get fixated. I get fixated, and I have to buy all the pieces or acquire all the pieces as soon as possible. But I don't get fixated a lot about character. But when I do, I'm one track mind until I get it done.
Oh, right. Well, I'm one of those people where I'll have pieces and in the middle of the project, it'll end up coming out with something else. So I have parts of many things. I have tons of penguin memorabilia.
Hard to believe.
Yeah. And I have a whole wall.
My office downstairs is just full of Batman stuff.
Yeah. And it's just, I just pick it up along the way. I mean, I've had artists that'll see me walking around at a con and, I'll walk by and I'll start to look at their table and they're like, oh, here, I drew this of you. And it's really
I saw
cool.
some of the pictures you got at Collector New Jersey Collector Fest. Yes.
Yeah.
That's run by the Megafist guys, isn't it?
Yes, as a matter of fact. Yeah. Collector's Fest. Yep. And I was just in New Jersey and, that particular picture I had commissioned, but I have a lot of different ones where people, because they appreciate, a lot of these artists, the old school artists appreciate the Burgess Meredith version. So they'll do a Burgess Meredith version of me. So
I don't think Danny DeVito is well liked as the Penguin.
You'd be surprised. A lot of people.
I think people thought he was kind of disgusting.
Well, a lot of people do like him, and a lot of people ask me if I'm ever going to do a DeVito, and I would like to do one. I just have not been able to find that onesie that he has. You know what I mean? Yeah. I can't find a onesie like that'll fit. And right now, all the tailors that I know, everybody I know that can do that is tied up with other projects right now. Yeah. So that's one thing that I do have on my to-do list. I would love to do that because I want to walk around and I want to have like a fish that I could be, chewing into or something like that. I just think it'll be a lot of fun. And Danny DeVito's Penguin really went far out on those puns. That he had, or those things, he really took Penguin to the edge, and I'd love to do that.
I love the original Batman villains a lot. I would love to do, but I don't think my body type, except for maybe uh, King Tut.
Yeah,
Was it King Tut?
yeah,
Yeah.
he was one of the originals. The one thing about the originals is they're very fun to watch and portray because of the fact that they are bigger than life. You know, they are
Oh, the
so
Riddler.
campy and bigger than
The-
life.
That actor on the Riddler was so amazing,
Hmm.
so hyper, so into the thing.
Yep.
Later, when they replaced him with John Aston, I don't like John Aston's Riddler that much, but the original Riddler was just incredible.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, he was so. Jim Carrey was okay when he went full Riddler in the movie,
Right.
uh, but I really love that original Riddler. And I mean, if I ever make the Megabucks or a Powerball, there's a company in Pennsylvania that makes the original '66 Batmobile that I'm going to buy.
Oh wow. Wow. Yeah.
That's the only Batmobile I really like is the original, the TV one,
Yeah. Yeah.
the West one.
Yeah. I would love to have the access to just and the funds to actually just get everything I can commissioned. It would be really nice, you know, commission it from people that I know because there's some amazing folks out there. It's just
There's an actual licensed company making Batmobiles. They made like 200 of them.
oh, did they?
They start at like $150,000 and they go up to 250.
That's probably why that's why I see the Batmobile
Called
around a lot.
It's called Fiberglass Freaks, the name of the company,
Okay.
and they're on the internet with their Batmobiles, and they're actually licensed by DC.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that's unusual for our car replicas to be licensed by the copyright owner. So,
Yeah.
but I would in a second buy. If a few $1 million is leave my house in seconds if I win the lottery because I'm getting an Ecto one, I'm getting a DeLorean, and I'm getting a Batmobile.
I'd have to get a bigger place, you know.
Well, I'd have to rent a warehouse just to keep the cars in.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but the most expensive and actually the penguin is a very hot costume to be in.
I imagine.
Yeah, the hat and everything like that. Now, when we were talking about the makeup with Dr. Evil, as a matter of fact, that's one of the things. That particular photo comes from a shoot that I was fortunate enough. I've done it. I did it at Red Raven Studios in Rhode Island.
That's where it was Saturday night.
Right, and they're awesome. And when I had asked them about doing a shoot there, and I told them what I wanted to do, and they were just offering up these ideas like, oh, they're like, well, you know, if you need someone for the makeup, then, you know, we know someone. And they brought somebody in.
They have a little makeup area there.
Yeah, they brought somebody in, happened to be a woman that I think works out of New York. She does a lot of the Broadway stuff. And she actually helped me. Well, actually, she did the entire makeup job for Dr. Evil.
The baldness looks not fake.
Yeah, she was unbelievable. I was completely flabbergasted. I mean, before that, I was doing that myself. I can't.
A lot of times you can tell it's a bald cap or something.
Yeah, and
that looks good
because usually it peels up somewhere. Yeah.
Who's your co-stars in this?
So let's see. Number 2 is Kepra Cosplay.
Okay, I've cut her in half before.
Yep.
Literally, my first Con, I cut her in half during the show.
Oh, okay. Yep, that's Kepra. And the other one, let's see, is Frau, and that's Veronica Marie.
Okay.
And so we all got together. It was fantastic. I could never do the makeup job that she did. I was doing it before. It didn't look as good because bald caps, because when you sweat in a bald cap, it collects around your hairline. And sometimes, depending on what you use for adhesive, it starts to peel up. That's when you start to recognize that it's, you see it's a bald cap. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
at that show. But you know what I've learned actually with the adhesives, like you can use uh, the normal like spirit gum adhesive there for the bald caps or things like that. But I
Cosplay
experimented.
Dad.
Huh?
Cosplay Dad gave me a hint on that because you see Tom
Yeah.
wearing facial hair occasionally. Right
Yep.
now he's got a full beard,
Yeah.
but he occasionally wears facial hair on his costumes, and he turned me to a medical adhesive that they use for medical devices as being
That's
much better and handles water. It's pretty waterproof. I mean, the only bad part is it's actually a struggle to get the damn thing off. So on my first, he was there when I did my first pallbearer, and the eyebrows and the mustache kept coming off. I was sweating to death. My makeup was melting. And so I can get it to you. I'll put it on the screen here, what it is, but it's an adhesive I use and really handles sweating in water well. It's because he works for a medical products company.
right.
So it's something they actually use to secure people's medical
The
thing.
lacerations, right?
Well, if you have certain medical devices, you have to have it attached to your body or something,
Okay.
and they use this to do that.
Well,
And again, I'll drop it in right here.
okay. I did experiment with some of that, um, but what I ended up doing is I went from doing the adhesives like that to something called top cap. And what that is for to keep toupees on or wigs on.
Okay,
And
William Shatner.
yeah, there you go. And what you do is basically it comes in two types. It comes in, you can get it in a roll like a tape, and it's two-sided, and you can put it on there, and or it comes in small strips, either 1.5, 2-inch strips, and you can get it that way. And since it's made for toupees and such, it's made to resist moisture and sweat.
Okay.
So that's another idea, and it's not too bad to take off. And that you could get on
Yeah,
Amazon. There's tons of them on
that's the
Amazon.
problem that I have. That it stuff is works so well. It's always tough getting Paul Bear's mustache off. I've
Yeah.
upgraded to waterproof makeup recently because my Terrificon experience, I had to change after 2 hours because it was so hot in
Um,
that place that I melted.
Now
I mean, I started
I
looking like
went.
a member of Kiss or black and white,
Yeah.
and I don't know what the hell I was.
Well, I went from a cream makeup to all I use is the the powder. The what do you call it? Uh, the powdered makeup. You know what I'm talking about? Like the
Okay,
I want to say like a
I've used
pate,
powdered
but it's not.
makeup.
It's escaping me right now. But I went from the cream makeup because the cream makeup is like oil paint, and no matter how
Yes,
much I,
I use.
yeah.
I now use clown makeup for my pallbearer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The
So,
traditional traditional oil based kind of clown makeup for pallbearer because it's more waterproof.
well, I was getting it all over my costumes and things like that with the cream makeup, and sometimes, no matter how much I pat it down with the talc or whatever, the sealant and everything, it still was like coming
I,
off at times.
I
Because
have talc and I have the sealer, and I've used both. But now supposedly I got to actually try it because Monster Expo's coming up in April and or is it May maybe, and I'm bringing pallbearer to that. Uh, so I have to experiment with the new makeup that I just got recently because with COVID, I refused to bring pallbearer out. I mean, Terrificon was one of the few places you didn't have to wear masks last year.
mm-hmm.
Uh, you like they stopped the masks like a few weeks before, and then they put in new mask orders like a few weeks after. So Terrificon was just a little thing because I think pallbearer. is one of those guys that doesn't work in a mask as well.
The only thing that I was able to do to adapt that kind of worked was there's a clear mask. It's more of a face shield.
Yeah, that's
Goes
why I use the
like
face shield in my
around here.
shows because you have to see my face when I'm
Yeah,
filming.
yeah,
If I'm telling jokes and I'm doing magic or something, you really got to see my face.
right. The so yeah, I went into the makeup, the powders, the cakes. Thanks. Finally, I remember what it is. So I use the cake makeup most of the time because for me, that stays the most and is the easiest to get off. I mean, unfortunately, no matter what you do, if you're doing full face, you're going to be, or even on the body, you're going to be like showering and you're going to have that same color come off in the shower for days, no matter how well you think you take it off. But,
I know I bought several makeup remover wipes and things, and my ears tend to still be white
yeah,
inside my ears and
right.
around my ears, and even later in the day. I mean, because I did Barbara first at Terrificon, and then changed into dark brown and then Newt.
Right.
That was the order I think I went that day. But there's a photographer there who took several pictures of me, and he's I know him now. He's a friend of a friend, and he was at Troy City the Team Splenda, and he really was into pallbearer. He took my picture, and then I came back an hour or two later as Doc Brown, and he literally had no idea I was the same guy.
It's amazing how you can do that. You can see somebody for years, and as soon as they're out of cosplay or something like that, you're just like, oh, that's you.
I get that when I show up someplace not in costume, and they don't have any idea who I am. I'll be talking to people for like 10 minutes, and they'll go, and who are you? Because they think I should know this person,
Yeah.
and then I mean, Doc Brown isn't that much of a difference. Paul Bearer, the makeup and the mustache and the that really disguises me very well.
The I was just thinking when we were talking about the your jetpack. I think the most expensive costume was that I had was that I purchased was the Game of Thrones cosplay, in which you have a picture of that, and that one is also very hot. And so,
Oh, that
yeah, that. So, um, to give you an idea of how warm that gets, um, that shoot was done a day after uh, snowfall and also an ice storm. So we went out and it was still raining. It was still freezing. It was sleet and hail and such.
and you
And
weren't cold,
yeah,
right?
and poor. I feel so bad for the photographer. His last name is Fox, and he he was like, "Do you still want?" He calls me up the night before. He's like, "It's gonna snow and rain and sleet tomorrow. You still want to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's perfect for Game of Thrones." So we went out there. I was drenched, but I didn't feel a thing. It was like my nerves from the neck down were dead anyway from the heat of the costume, because that's actually one, two, three layers of pleather in that costume, as well as the cloak, the fur cloak.
I think
And
pleather may be hotter than leather.
yeah, and like I was literally steaming as the pictures were being taken from the body heat and the sweat. I was literally steaming. I didn't feel the weather at all except for right on my head and right on my face. I was drenched. But we had a blast during that shoot. So that costume ran me about, I think, about $450, $500.
Well, I do a lot of Harry Potter, a few Harry Potter cosplays, and I
Mm-hmm.
do 3 or 4 Doctor Who. And all the Harry Potter and Doctor Who costumes are insane because it's freezing in England. So these multi-layer wool coats, vests, shirts, um, Ascot for Doctor Who #4.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
him and
I've seen you in
uh,
the. I love the Doctor Who that you do.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's #4,
yeah,
Tom Baker
yeah.
with the scarf.
That's my favorite
But
Doctor. One of my favorites.
it was my doctor. It was literally my doctor back in the '70s when I ran on PBS. Be active more because I just hate winter. I hate the December, January, February months so bad. I may have some of that seasonal disorder thing.
Yeah, for me it's rough because when there's con season, usually there's nothing really in
There's
the
nothing
area.
around here. There's cons in the rest of the country. There's nothing here.
Yeah, it's just like it's tough because the cons are where or you're a family when you're at cons. The
Well, I
cosplayers
had a
and
whole staff. I had like 4 people: Ashley, Dark Phoenix,
mhm,
Ashley Goyette, helped out on a lot of shows. Katrina Thamaskara was my head roadie that we did like 50, 60 cons together on weekends.
mhm,
She's from Connecticut, Waterbury. And Kat did a lot of them too. And my daughter would help out. So we had a whole family that would go places and do weekends of shows at places.
yeah,
So we had a con family that would go do shows. So I've done about 72 cons, which is a lot in
that
three
is
or
a
four.
lot.
There was none last year, but other than that, it's been about 5 years.
Yeah,
We're talking hundreds of shows because I would always do 4 or 6 shows a weekend because I'm insane, as everybody would tell me not to
it
do.
gets it gets
Katrina would tell me not to do.
and it when you get cons going back to back to back like it did towards the end of last year, you get fatigue, but and you're like, oh, I'm not going to do that again, but you end up doing it again because you got to admit there's like the post con thing. There's the rush of the con, and then after
Oh
the
yeah, there's
con, it's
definitely
like
a
the
post
post
on
con
letdown.
depression.
I lost all those people that helped me. So the 2 cons I did last year,
Mhm.
GranaCon, and I did one in Connecticut. I did a quiet corner in Connecticut. Uh, I'm doing that again this year. But did GranaCon and did Vermont Sci-Fi and Fantasy Expo,
Mhm.
and by myself, including that one included bringing my TARDIS, which is no easy thing to bring with you.
Yeah, you've got a
And
lot of equipment.
I actually showed them the big show before COVID, and it got canceled twice. So I was finding time to deliver. There was the big show,
Yeah.
and I went by myself in my trailer, and I had to have several people there help me because I just had to unload all the stuff. It was a 3 hour drive. It was several hours set up, and then 4 shows in 2 days, and then a few hours to break down and then drive home again. I basically said, I can't do this. I'm getting too old for this stuff.
Mhm.
Especially now, I'm much lighter.
Should have more
I'm not.
energy.
I have about the same energy. I'm just not as flexible and nimble as I used to be.
You need the
I never acted my age before the incident. Now I have to act my age. So, I mean, I was at a con, Anime Con Saturday, and then Blunderland was there. She's an ex guest, by the
I
way.
love her.
On
She's
Ted-
amazing. She's a
She
doll.
was the host of the cosplay contest, and I've run into her 3 4 times, different things at least.
She's hysterical.
She's sent me the things. We're doing her video next week,
Okay.
so I'm looking forward to that.
She's doing a lot. She's doing a lot with I guess she's doing movies now, like fan movies and things like that. So she's extremely talented and very um, she's just great at everything she does.
Yeah.
And she's like a chameleon too because she can do everything. I mean, she can whatever costume or whatever you want. She's able to just nail it. So I mean,
Well,
Super
I
Mega
saw something.
Fest she was at what was it, the last Super Mega Fest too, I think.
Well, 3 years ago, because there was no one not last year, and this Super Mega Fest was the fifth year, sixth year. Sorry, the first time in 5 years I was not at Super Mega
Okay.
Fest. But Super Mega Fest, my last Super Mega Fest 2 years ago, I didn't have some of the right body size to cut it in half,
Mm-hmm.
and I went into the hallway, and her table was right in front of me.
Yeah.
So I said, "Hey, come here."
Yeah.
And I ended up cutting her in half as murder, I think, or
Well, she's doing Nubia now too, so that's a really good one for her.
yes, I've seen that
Yeah.
seen that photo.
Yep.
But I saw a picture that she drew of one of the people I met over the weekend. She drew her cosplay and gave it to her for her birthday today, and the pic is fantastic.
Yeah, she's an incredible artist too. I didn't know that until this past MegaFest. I didn't know she was an artist.
I didn't know that today.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think my anime part, I kind of liked anime, but never got really heavy into it. But I mean, like you were saying, I was watching, for example, Cosplay Dad was, I believe he was dressed from, originally it was called Battleship or Starship Yamato or Far Star Blazers. That's the captain.
Yes,
And I
yes,
grew
he
up
was.
like coming home.
I thought it was Captain Crunch, but
Yeah.
that tells you how
Yeah.
ignorant I am.
And I used to come home a lot and watch the Robotech series every day after school. So a lot of things that I know for anime are a lot of the older ones. I think, there's Darker Than
Well, I knew
there's
the
so
original
many.
Pokemon. Do you have a partner?
No, I don't actually. Yeah.
I used to.
Yeah.
I was married, and I had one of two a few weeks ago. Because one of the any previous partners have support or liked your cosplaying or thought it was weird?
Um, One of them just didn't know what to make of it. It was just kind of like, oh, you're gonna do that thing. I'm like, yes. She's like, all right. I'm like, you want to come? It's fun. No. So I haven't.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then there was
that's
another
what I
one.
learned recently. That having a girlfriend is good,
Yeah.
but having a girlfriend that you have nothing in common with is not that good.
Right. Well, I did have one that was very supportive. She was a cosplayer herself. So that was a nice change because,
I actually put my cosplay photos in my dating profile on internet dating things.
Yeah.
Because I figure, let's
Yeah.
make sure the normal people swipe left.
Yeah. Yep. Because they're going to find out. They're going to
Yes.
find out.
And then they're going to swipe left after you know them. So that's what I do. I literally have Indy and Loki
Mm-hmm.
and Doc Brown, and sometimes sometimes the dating service doesn't allow Paul Bearer, but
Yep. Yeah.
I try.
Yeah.
I've tried.
Yeah.
I think you get a really weird vibe when Paul Bearer is one of your dating profiles, but the problem is just that I don't know how old you are, but in my youth, there were no nerd women. Nerd women were more rare than unicorns.
Yeah. At least
And so
that they
nowadays,
reveal.
it's amazing. It's amazing how many nerd girls and women there are now.
Yeah. Well,
But they're all 10, 20 years younger than I
that's
am.
true. That's true.
And I have nothing in common with anybody my age. So I'm maybe doomed to being to dying alone. Especially if I put my cosplay photos still on my. If I pretend to be normal,
Yeah.
I think I can do well. Because I did it as a test once. I took the cosplay photos off and put normal photos on, and I had a lot of people messaging me.
Mm-hmm.
But these were people I had nothing in common with. So
Yeah.
I still hope that there's somebody out there somewhere that'll see one of my photos and understand
Mm-hmm.
that yes, I'm a little different. But I think it's tougher for older cosplayers because there's not too many older cosplayers. Again, I don't know how.
Yeah. Nowadays, it's there are so many cosplayers out there. It's like you were saying, we're unicorns.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
um, and I think at least the nice thing is that it's become a bit more um, being a geek, or let's say, has become more acceptable.
Well,
And
as I said
people,
over the weekend,
you know,
uh, today, the last guest, Rebecca Ragdoll Murderer, she puts nerd on her Instagram and Facebook profile.
yeah,
It's a badge of honor.
yeah,
She's 31. She's 31.
yeah.
When I was younger, it was hate speech.
No, you're right. Absolutely. Back then, yeah,
Nerd was made to put you down
yeah,
as an insult. You were a nerd. You would be insulted.
right.
So you just
I think maybe
it's a it's
I think maybe that gaming might have helped bring it out, the popularity of
maybe yeah.
gaming and things like that, and tech.
All these girls we met over the weekend, friends of Ragdoll Murderer,
Yeah,
they're all like gamers. All of them are
yeah,
gamers.
yeah.
So is Ragdoll Murderer and all these other people I met at.
I'm happy, at least happy to say that I have a lot of peers, at least closer to my age and my age, that are cosplayers and nerds now. It's just, I think that um,
The
well,
few I've known in this age group, they're already taken.
yeah,
They're very few.
well, that's
They're
it.
very
That
few.
you find each other and you hold on to them,
Yeah.
because, even like, for example, at Terrificon, I was walking around at Terrificon, and the couples, you'd have couples my age, and they would be cosplaying together, and I'd see a lot more of them doing things from like pop culture, like TV shows and things like that. And that's the best. Like when I was dating somebody who was a cosplayer, that was fun, because then you were similar interests, and you're kind of getting ideas from each other. You're uh, creating what you would call it, duos and things like that.
I
Um,
haven't had that luck,
but
unfortunately.
you find one, and someone who's not afraid to you know forego their, let's say, ego enough to actually take the chance. You hold on to them, and we just have to keep going and hopefully inspire the change.
Yeah, because
It's really
I
what it
get
is. It
along
sounds
with
campy, but
people.
it's true.
I get along with people half my age and
Oh yeah,
third my age, much better than I do people my own age group.
30s and 20s. Yeah, I get messages from all over the world, and it's really cool to see that other people are, it's the power of social media, I guess, but it's really cool to see that other countries, or other people from other countries, are like, hey, that's really cool. I like that cosplay. I like that penguin, and this, that, and the other thing. And I always like to.
Do you get anything you want to plug?
Well, let's see. I guess Wicked. I'll be at Wicked. That's coming up in April 9, I believe. And then I'm planning on going to Rhode Island and Fan Expo. So, keep an eye out for me there. I was in Cosplay Alliance magazine in November. So that's, those are things to keep an eye out for. Yeah. And my Instagram is the main one that I put everything on and share it over to Facebook, but it's
and it's basically just an ad sign in front of the name.
Huh?
It's an ad sign in front of your name.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah. So it's Alazarcosplay. I'm the only Alazarcosplay there is, and so that's on Facebook as well as Instagram. And I hope to see everybody there. it's going to be nice to see some new faces as well as some familiar faces. So,
Your next con, I'm going to be there on Wicked.
yeah,
I'm going to be filming on Wicked, so I'll come by and say hi and put you on camera.
yeah, I might. Depends on my work schedule. I might hit what is it? Retro Expo is coming up next, right?
Retro Expo, yes, I'm filming a Retro Expo.
Okay.
That was our commercial at the beginning of
Yeah,
this episode.
yeah. So that's next.
And that's
I'm just trying to figure out a Marvel cosplay that I could do. I haven't figured one out yet. So anyway,
show, and thanks for coming on.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.